to have 5, 6, or 8 profit centers with different presidents? Might as well break it up.
I wonder if this decision by the Indian Supreme Court will be one of those court cases that's studied forever in history. It's so significant and it's so personal, especially because of the Family Feud angle on this, that I wonder if our textbooks, our school books about business and business management will include some reference to this particular case.
Also, the power of sovereign government.
That's right. You know, Ramesh, I wanted to share something with you. Someone shared a characterization about our show with me, which I thought was so appropriate that I wanted to share it with you.
Yeah.
Someone said to me that we are a lot like the Indian Regis and Kelly Ripa.
You
right?
are the Regis, though.
I guess, but you know what they were trying to say there is we don't just bring stories to the table. We actually infuse our perspective and our opinion, sometimes taking into account our local community here, our community perspective, the ethnic perspective, and it's so true. If you just read the story, sometimes it can be very bland and dry, and that's why, you know, people talk about these things at their water cooler and at work. But, you know, these types of stories, they are very meaningful to the community that watches this show.
That's right.
And I think
you know, the reason I bring certain type of stories because they intrigue me.
Yes.
And, you know, I don't take nothing in life serious except my work. I work hard for my living. But everything else, I take it with a pinch of salt. I look at it other angles. So whenever you see certain stories, you wonder that $26.4 billion for online university. I mean, who was the person who was lobbying for it?
That's very true. That's very true. I mean, how often is it that you read a story and you think to yourself, wow, am I the only person that thought of this angle? And unless you share that angle or perspective with someone, you don't get to have that rich discussion.
That's right.
Right? And what we get to do here on the show is not just read the material, but present one point of view with another point of view and see, hey, you know, is the way that you've analyzed the story and the way you're reading this material, you know, what impression are you walking away with?
That's right.
You know, what does it say about us as a people, as a community, as a nation, as a country?
That's right. And folks, people like this, that we move away from every subject very quickly. We don't bog down with it. For instance, we're going to move away to a story that I read out of New York. This is Michael Bloomberg, the mayor for life up in New York City. Now, what he's saying that I want to charge the homeless for the shelter that they're going to use, because he believes that the client side of the equation also has to contribute, because they're the clients, they need to contribute. Plus, we need to help them get off from this, so we need to charge them so that at some point they feel, I get a better deal outside than I get them here, because he charges as much as $900 if they can afford it, you know.
I wonder how that is going to work. There are so many people who are still unemployed,
yes,
that still are trying to find their way back. And I don't think anybody enjoys living in a shelter. I really don't think that this is a life of luxury to anyone. They probably try to get out of there as quick as they can in the first place.
They can, and that is what everybody would think. But that is not true. There are lots of people that are there for life, you know, and this is what he's trying to do. Now, I am not necessarily in agreement with him, but I'm definitely in agreement with the words that they use, that we want to make sure the client side also contributes, and that client, because they need to get off, at some point they need to see whether it's a better deal to go live outside than to live here.
He is nothing if not a consummate businessman, isn't he? Always thinking about it from that side. Although I think there's a positive angle here. There are so many, you know, funding for those types of shelters is always a problem. They get cut very quickly. The budgets usually, you know, always struggle to support those things. If they can become self-sufficient because you found a way to pay for your facilities because you're charging rent effectively, then why not? Maybe you'll be able to upkeep and maintain a budget for these types of facilities, which helps more people in the long run. So
I tell you another interesting story. You know, it is very hard to lose your job. But of course, you get unemployment compensation. But where in the world is the best place to go to get these unemployment compensation that you can really talk about? Well, the place is Norway. And they give you 72% of their annual net salary are up to $56,940.
That's pretty good, except for the frigid cold.
In Japan, they give you 45% of the net pay during the first year of unemployment. But the second year, they give you only 3%.
That's good. It gets people out and moving.
You know, in Spain, they pay your mortgages while you're unemployed.
You know, what's interesting is if you've been watching the Dow Jones this past several weeks, you've seen it do a bunch of volatile up and downs,
Yes.
right? In part because of the European Union making a very big decision to bail out Greece and Spain and any of these struggling countries in the European Union. And as a result, the euro is rising.
Yeah.
Right, for a while the euro was falling, which for us, you know, the dollar hasn't been doing great. But if it's rising against the euro,
it should be really in parity. There is no reason for euro to be as high as it is. You know.
Speaking of parity, here's something interesting. You know, the U.S. dollar, we always call it the green. We're in the green because the bills themselves are green. If you travel across the world, however, money is all sorts of different colors. Well, that reality may soon be coming.